Hello, Abigail here with the Tarotscopes for Cancer season, Pisces Sun, Moon, and Rising. All right, my Pisces folks, this season is a bit extra special. We have some of the best astrology of 2025, and we have some of the most intense. So it is kind of here and there with stuff. With the readings, I tend to keep track of what's been happening and going on. And something that's really been showing up is that we have some really kind of positive readings for one side and then the more intense pressured readings for other signs, which usually it tends to be like a theme across, but it's really kind of here and there. So just know that as you're reading through your tarot scopes and looking at your sun, moon, or rising, that this is how this is going to affect certain parts of your chart. So definitely tap into your birth chart for this one because it's going to affect you differently. A lot of positive stuff happening over in Cancer, but we do have the intensity of that square to Saturn over in Aries, anything on the cardinal axis. So Libra, Capricorn, all of these are going to be kind of creating this like really benefic thing with that Jupiter in its, exaltation, and then kind of more difficult stuff with other planets kind of in tricky signs. Saturn is in fall in Aries. So just know that there's kind of this wide range of intensities. And the reason I'm saying this is because you do kind of fall into the category of a little more intense and a little more of a processing season. Although starting off, you do have a really beautiful oracle card. Oh, and before I forget, I have a partner reading to this. It's the astrology of Cancer season. So you can look that up. It's the companion to this, just so you have the astrology and also the tarot. So we have this. It's gallant, accept healing energies. So it really does feel as though this is a month of healing. I do think some of this healing is going to cause you to need to kind of go into places that may be a little less comfortable to face things that maybe you have yet to have faced. But you do have this really beautiful card that reminds me a lot of the Magician card, but also when I saw it, and I'm pulling from this tarot deck, the Wild Unknown Tarot, I was like, wow, this looks like the Strength card. And guess what card I drew next? Drew the Strength card. Uh, there are some similarities here with kind of the mane and the symbolism and the sun up here and the sun over here. So it feels as though this is a season of power for you, maybe not a season of ease completely. So there's a lot of intensity here. We have this bravery and this strength in accepting healing and help. It does look like you might need to reach out to people to support and to care for and to uplift you. But also we have the strength card, which to me really screams fortitude and endurance and an ability to kind of stand your ground. It's time for my Piscean folks to kind of really dig into the North Node energy, especially now that Neptune and Saturn are out of Pisces. Will they be returning to the later degrees later this year? Yes, yes, yes. But for now, you really get to focus on what that North Node is doing, and it requires this courage to engage with energy that is that big and that expansive. Also, don't forget, because the nodes are in Pisces and Virgo, when we hit Virgo season, you are going to be kicked off with these eclipses. So late August, early September, you're going to be in the thick of it. And it does feel in this reading like this is kind of a kick up to the heightened energy of Virgo season. Nothing in astrology happens in isolation. We are not just kind of sitting in this moment in time. It is everything that's come before and everything that is coming after. So in this Cancer season, be brave. Be brave enough to say when you're wrong. Be brave enough to say when you've been hurt. Be brave enough to stand up for yourself and to really call in your own personal power. And Pisces are not always the best with boundaries. It's because you are so expansive and so limitless that you're able to really do a lot with what you have, and you're able to kind of be more than just the moment. But you are still human and have limitations. So definitely protect your energy this season. Set those boundaries, hold them firm. And I said this in another reading, no sign is doomed to a perpetual struggle with a certain topic. They also vary depending on the aspects in your chart, but it's about the maturing and the evolving of the sign through your lifetime. One example I used is that Taurus kids can be really stubborn and really struggle with pacing themselves with things. They can overdo it a lot or not even get up and try as kind of like an opposing position to like the stubborn drive. But as you get older, we learn, because I'm a Taurus, you learn to integrate that into a healthy relationship. And so with Pisces, that kind of limitless boundarylessness can become this ability to be expansive and also recognize the limit, the limits of a moment. Um, it's really about perception. So really stand firm on yourself. Really believe in what you deserve and what you ought to have, and what um, I don't know if owed is the right word, but what is your birthright to be seen and held. And I think it's interesting because it's like accept healing energies, but it's also gallant, which is kind of, you know, this kind of pure, brave, courageous idea of being gallant. So to be that kind of light and beacon and um, source of energy for others while also defending and protecting yourself. And you can do both, and you can do it both, and you can do both well. It just requires a bit of delicacy, which the North Node may not currently be offering you. So, yeah, it is going to require you to have some guts this season. And, you are in a trine. If you have early degree planets, you're going to be in a trine to that new moon. That new moon is on the 25th of June. And it is going to be a really great moon to work with. I'm kind of here nor there on, have to work with lunar moments to really get stuff to work spell wise and manifestation wise. But there are some, pardon me, lunations that are just good for stuff. And this is one of them. It's just, you're going to have a lot more success working with this new moon than doing it on any other day. Kind of how that works. So definitely, yeah. And also, really, this kind of just came to me, really be courageous and brave in what you ask of the universe. Really invite the universe in to give you the things that you want, trusting that it can happen, believing that you deserve it, knowing that anything is possible when we set our minds to it and work with the energies at hand. And then we have the Four of Cups, which makes me wonder what's going on, what's happening. um, what what are we missing? The Four of Cups can also be apathy, which I think it's really interesting that it's kind of next to these two, this Oracle card and this Tarot card, that are really passionate and forward thinking. And then to have this card of kind of apathy and maybe hidden messages and a lack of connection to something. It's okay to detach when we need to, but we can't live there all the time. Also makes me wonder if there isn't something special in Cancer season for you to do or achieve or attain, that you really just have to be present in order to receive or to accomplish. So I would encourage you to kind of, for a couple of minutes each day, depending on where you are, to really make yourself, not make, to really encourage yourself to enter a space of presence where you are consciously aware of your body and the physical space in a moment, and just make that a practice. That can be all that you need for meditation, to just show up present in a moment, existing wholly and consciously. It doesn't have to be complicated or multi-stepped in order for it to be valuable. What is that noise? I don't know. Maybe it's a siren really far away. They are really active today here in my city. And then we have the Death card, which is why when I saw this along with one other card, I was like, we're going to see a little bit of struggle, because while the Death card isn't scary, it is a lot. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to engage in. It's a lot to participate in. It is this rebirth and regrowth and renewal that all of us have to face at various times in our lives. And it feels like, especially that Capricorn full moon is going to be digging some really intense things up for us and really be asking us to face some stuff, especially when it comes to, your Oracle card where it says, accept healing energies. You're going to need to call in your guides and the universe and spirit, listen to what they are saying, participate in what they're calling us to participate in, and with this Death card and what it means and its, call to transformation and reintegration of stuff and the composting of things that are dead, it can be hard to let those things go. So I encourage you especially to tap into that full moon and really utilize it to release the dead and the dying. The card for Capricorn is the death card. Is death card? No, it's double card. The card for Scorpio is the death card. I wonder what you can find in Scorpio this season in your chart. Do you have planets in Scorpio? Do you have a moon in Scorpio? Um, is there a friend who is a Scorpio who can offer you help and advice? It really feels as though, there's something there for you. Um, so think about scorpionic things and endings and death and contracts and things like that, which also can fall into Scorpio. More of the repressive ones, but it is what it is. So, yeah, to really tap into what death means to you this season, what you can let go. It doesn't always mean literal death. It very often is just the composting of thoughts and ideas and parts of self that, no longer function in a way that we find to be, helpful. And I'm not talking about like innate parts of self. I'm talking about the stuff that we have grown in order to survive and protect ourselves, if that makes sense. So, there's death, there's bravery, there's a need to connect in Cancer season. I do love this card because it is Capricorn. It is, the King of Pentacles or the Father of Pentacles in this deck. You need to connect and tap in to your strength and your growth and your power and really to communicate. Capricorn is sextile you, which can be a really helpful placement. This moon is going to be giving you some gifts, some release, some hope. It's also going to be reminding you of your power and your strength and your ability to do and be and function as everything that you are. Also, a big reminder, kind of looking at what's happening here, Mars is in opposition, which is kind of where a lot of this kind of effort is coming from. You're being confronted by Martian things, by conflict and strife. And in Virgo, kind of the nitpickiness and going down rabbit holes and having to like navigate an excess of energy in a really small way. It's like having someone spill a bag of rice on the floor and then having to clean it up. Maybe your house gets more clean because of it, but it's still annoying and upsetting. So really tap into this moon and your body this season. I know a lot of my Pisces use use their ability to really exist in multiple planes to kind of avoid some physical things, and that's not all bad. I think as someone with chronic pain, I often mentally and emotionally escape my body and I'm very disconnected from it because it's hard to endure. Talking is actually one of the ways I disassociate from my pain. If I'm talking, I don't feel it as much. So it's not bad to disassociate. It's not bad to protect yourself from the intensity of life. However, I think Cancer season is going to require you to pull yourself into your body a couple of times. So just be prepared for that and do it in a healthy way. Don't force yourself beyond your own endurance. And then last but not least, we do have a Seven of Wands. This is the card of kind of struggle. It's that midway point of having to really stand up for what you believe in and your ethics and morals and your beliefs and desires. It's not an easy place. It is definitely feels very, these two together, this kind of honorable dissent, this power, this resistance to the way things are, and holding people and places and things accountable. I do love in this card, you always have the upper hand. You're on the side of right. Doesn't make it any easier. I would encourage you looking at these cards to rest when you need to rest. But there is a lot of power in death, and there's a lot of power in the cards that you have here. And I encourage you to harness them in a really brave way this Cancer season, to be bravely and courageously open and empathetic and powerful all at the same time. Anyways, that is my reading for you. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Go check out that astrology video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my stuff. Also, pop something. If you have any questions, you can pop them in the comments. If you have an experience you want to share, please pop that there. I love chit-chatting. Also, you can find me under this name on my website and other places. But I wish you a blessed Cancer season, and I will see you all in a different space and time.